Hey folks, this is Andrew, the producer of The Liars Club. First off, we want to say thank you for listening. We honestly do appreciate it. And if you could please click that subscribe button so you know when we have new episodes out, it would be awesome. Also, if you could leave us a review, it would mean the world to us. And we are starting to take our show on the road. So be on the lookout for live shows in an area near you. And also look out for our live episodes that are going to be coming out shortly. And we would love to hear anything you have to say about it, be it a question, a comment, a concern, or a crazy story that you want us to decide whether it is a lie or a truth. So please give us an email at theliarsclub1@gmail.com, and we would appreciate it greatly.
Welcome to the Liars Club. This is where we take our guests, we tell them to give us the truth, give us a lie, we figure out which is which. I'm Jessica Wellington.
I'm Felicia Michaels.
And you're about to get lied to.
And we have such amazing guests today, and they've been very patient as we had a little bit of a technical difficulty. And why don't you go ahead and take it off? Or you want to introduce them?
Sure, yeah. They're paid regulars here at the Comedy Store. I've seen them on everything recently. I know I've been up to you guys like, hey, I saw you on this. I saw you on that. I've been watching this. And they're amazing. And they have a sports show that I honestly don't know a lot about because I don't know sports.
You don't have to. That's not one.
Please welcome the Sklar Brothers.
Thank you. Well, we have another podcast that you would love. It's called Dumb People Town, and it's all about dumb people doing dumb things. And we try because we believe the world is getting dumber.
You should have Jessica on that.
She's done a lot of dumb shit, huh?
We may do a story about her. No, but yeah, it's our way to fight the dumb tidal wave that's swept.
Because it's
nation.
like not only is it getting louder, or dumb feels like dumb has been drinking all day and now is like going to beat up smart with dumb's like drunk strength.
Right.
Okay. It's dumber is louder. Dumber is proud that it's dumb, and it's like it's out of the shadows now. It's never like it's done. It's almost like I'm dumb, and what are you going to do about it? And so
it's like out of the dumb closet and into the world.
Exactly.
We're like, no, you should have stayed it. Right?
But let me ask you guys,
I know that woman.
How do you define, and serious question, how do you define dumb?
I define dumb as destructive, unaware behavior that it can inflict pain on you or people around you, and you
showing no remorse,
and you keep doing it, or you go headfirst into something.
Here's the problem, though.
Dumb choices.
Here's the problem, though. Dumb people are happy. Like, they don't give a shit. They're like, whatever, dude. I'm on a fucking jet ski and I'm eating a Tide Pod. I don't give a shit.
That's also because they lack empathy.
Yeah, they have.
I think there's no empathy. I think there's
you
also
can be like sweet dumb like myself.
You are, by the way, you
there
are
is,
not dumb.
you are not.
No,
not
you're
dumb.
fucking
You're
totally smart,
you're
Jessica.
a person
I
who
only tease
examines
you.
shit. You
But
know what I mean? Like you're like, why is this the way that it is?
There are people out there right now who are like, fuck science. It's like, no, don't fuck science. How about you can say I don't understand it, or you can say like that's over my pay grade. There's a difference between that person who's like, I don't get it, but I'm sure they know what they're talking about, or the person who's like, fuck that bullshit, I'm gonna fucking start polluting the air for no reason.
But what about people who because science isn't always 100% true. The people that argue this, don't get upset. But the people who always argue like, well, but then this study, and then they turned around and 20 years later they say something completely different. So how do you trust science?
Because science is constantly evolving and we learn new information. And so like you learn something 20 years later that does overturn like that little piece of stuff that we didn't know before. And so you have to trust. You just have to trust science.
Sometimes I think that dumb people are people that are just like, well, I got enough information. I'm just it's all full at the
and then
end.
they use it so like fracking. There's no scientific proof that fracking causes sinkholes, right?
Yeah.
I was watching this on The Last Man Standing. I'll get it together, right? Because they brought this up. There's no scientific
Sinkholes
proof
on Last
that it
Comic
happens,
Standing.
but yet more are happening since we've been fracking. So like if you kind of put those together, they might relate to each other, you know? So there's no
I think to say that it has no connection, and if you're not a scientist, then I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Well,
the truth of the matter is, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
go
talk
ahead.
over you. No, but the truth of the matter is, like, you have to see if there is a link. It definitely certainly seems like there's a link.
There's a link that they're happening more now that we're fracking.
Yes.
But that doesn't count as scientific proof.
It doesn't, but like go find the link. I say to science, like, go find the link, and maybe we should stop doing that.
Well, I heard this conversation on NPR where it was these people have this podcast about health science for health, and how they said, back in the day before we all realized germs and all that, if you had a terrible case of the hiccups, and let's say you had crossed the street on a Thursday at 2 to go, to get some eggs or whatever, and then your hiccups stopped. People were like, I heard on Thursdays you got to go get some eggs across the road, and your hiccups. So I think, you know what I mean? Like,
well, there's that. I mean, but that's just clearly the coincidental,
Right,
hey, this happened at
obviously.
this moment. But,
Right.
But sometimes that does save our lives.
crossing the street at 2 p.m. on
Well,
a Thursday.
whenever-
to
right?
get some eggs.
Right.
Well, stuff like
sure it saved
superstitious
someone's
stuff
life.
like that, because soldiers used to die of smallpox, but then they would rub their wounds together, and it would like vaccinate the other person.
Right. So a dumb thing that you're trying to kind of,
Right.
yeah, you might stumble upon the correct scientific solution
Right.
through dumb means. Absolutely, that happens all the time. But we're just saying, like, we need to fight this in some way. It's like getting,
Like the guy
wounds
who
together.
gets so drunk that he fights his own reflection in the window at a bar. That's a dumb guy.
So we get dumb
yes.
we get these
Yes.
stories sent to us, and then we break them down with our co-host Dan. Anyway,
That's a
something.
real story?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that
Oh,
really happened.
really?
So
Really?
I mean, and like there's a woman who's like trying to break it up, and then she'll go make out with him. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so there's
Wow.
that
You
aspect
got
of
any
the world.
rubbers? Like,
Yeah.
there's that conversation. So, yeah, there's a lot of dumb behavior going on in this country right now, and we feel
Certainly in the world. I mean,
Yeah.
anytime a woman wants to
Yeah.
marry a chandelier, we're like, we got to be there to make fun
What
of it.
kind of chandelier? That's my question.
Kind
though.
of crystal. Felicia's like, chandelier, don't talk back. That's all I'm going to say.
She can customize her couch.
Or
we know
shit
that.
on the floor.
Or
I'm
shit on
in.
the floor. All right. Ready.
all over that.
Well, we're going to start our game portion of the podcast, and what we do is we ask our guests to tell two stories. One is the truth, and one is a lie. And then and Jessica, by the way, asks many questions. I ask some, but she likes to grill it, and just to figure out which one is the lie. And it's interesting today because you guys are identical twins. How do you guys want to go about this?
We'll each do them.
We'll each do 'em. Go ahead and do your true one. Just kidding.
But is it? Will your brother? I'm asking you both this question. No, are you guys going to participate in playing the game, or will?
If you know the answer, then I wouldn't participate.
I think we shouldn't participate. I think it should just be
Okay.
you. Because if it
Okay.
were just one guest,
All right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, we
Right.
should do these as the way you do them on your show
We
regularly.
do. Well, we do, because we usually always have two people.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they, a lot of times, chime in.
participate? All right,
But you don't have to.
You don't. Yeah, we're
I
going to
don't think
leave
we
it
should.
open.
I feel like we
'cause-
know each other too well.
That's what I was
Okay.
thinking.
It's unfair.
Okay. Otherwise, as one is talking, we're going to totally look at the facial contortions of the other one, like
The
you
meat
know.
of the story thing. Make sure the meat of the story is true. If you
Yeah,
wanna-
just make sure the meat of the story. If you're doing a false story, like if you change that it happened not at a Popeyes and at a KFC, that's still true. Like that story happened.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I get it. I get
Like
what
if you
you're
just
saying.
change the little details, it's not a full lie.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
And it's not original to tell two true stories and at the end go, surprise, they were two true stories.
Okay, gotcha.
Because we want to
Right,
punch
these are
those
good rules.
people.
These are good rules. I love that you've certainly done enough of these that you now
Yes,
know the
now we
rules.
know now. We
I'm
know
like, that's like when you get on a plane and they're like, turn your thing to airplane mode. I'm like, how many planes have been downed because someone was just on the Wi-Fi fucking around? I'm like,
Right.
certainly enough that they're like, you got to do the. All right, so go ahead.
Jeez. All right. So I coach a lot of my son's teams, and I coached his baseball team. This is a couple years ago. The first year that we were in this Toluca Lake League.
My kids did baseball. They're
Toluca
very
Lake.
serious over there.
They are serious.
With baseball, yes.
So this is like he was like, I think he was 6 or 7, like young 7, I think. Pinto division,
Yes.
is the youngest one, and
That's what they call it?
Pinto.
Pinto? Like the car?
like the bean.
Oh.
We are in Southern California. We are in Southern California.
Not for the horse at all. Not for the horse.
No, so it probably is the horse. It definitely is the horse because the next level up is Bronco, and the next level up is Mustang.
I like the bean better. I like the bean.
I like the bean. When they're little, they're like beans. They're not a horse. All right, so it should be the horse.
It should be Pinto, then Garbanzo, then Frijole Negro, because it's only Mexicans playing at that point anyway.
Fact. fucked. All right, so we're playing against this other team, and the coach on the other team has twin sons, and was yelling at his kids like a crazy amount, like the amount that like to the point where I'm like, no one's stopping this. It's like insane. And having been a twin, and our dad was the opposite. He was very like sweet with us, and he was very like, he was not the way this guy was. And this guy was like calling timeouts, to talk to batters if our pitcher threw 2 strikes in a row just to try to throw our pitcher off. I'm like, what are you doing? And
was he like the dad coach?
He was the dad coach of the other, of the other team. But he's yelling at everyone.
Was his son the pitcher?
One of his kids was the pitcher.
Those guys.
The other twin was
annoying.
So his kids are the best pitchers. So are the best players on the team. And so I was on the phone with this is how I was coaching. I was in the dugout on the phone with my friend in New York, my friend Leslie, and I was talking to her on the phone. And I'm like, this guy is like, I'm going to say something to him. And she was like, you should. I was like explaining what he was doing. And then she's like, I'm like, so the kids like in the dugout, you got to get a helmet on. I'm like on the phone, like talking to my friend instead of like really coaching the team. I'm like, you got to get up there, buddy. All right. So I'm like, I'm going to say something. And she's like, you should say something. I'm like, I will. I definitely will say something. And she was like, well, why aren't you going and say something? And I was like, because I'm terrified. I'm literally terrified because I've never been in a fight in my life. Never, not once.
Really?
I mean, Randy and I would hit each other, I think, when we were kids, but would never in the face, kind of always in like the meaty part of the back. It was just a weird like agreement where we wouldn't
always
like
a sock with a bunch of potatoes, not
right,
leave bruises.
It wasn't like a
of
pillowcase
quarters in it.
full of cokes like in Bad Boys. All right, so
Sean Penn movie.
Sean Penn, the prison movie, wasn't it? All right, so I'm
Isai
like
Morales.
I'm like nice. I could not. I'm like, I can't get into a fight. Number one, I would lose. This guy's like a big dude, like a personal trainer dude. And I'm like, I would lose. It would be embarrassing. It would be so embarrassing. But I'm like, I got to say something. So I hang up the phone, wait till the inning ends, walk across the diamond. We're on the third base side, and he's on the first base side, and I walk across. And I'm like, loud enough that I need other people to hear loud. You know what I mean? To know this is going on. I'm like, hey, bro.
You said bro?
Bro.
You started it off that way?
Like what? Like I'm at a fucking Sublime concert? Like, hey, bro. You practice Santeria? Or whatever. Right? So I'm like, hey, bro. And he's like, and he turns around. I'm like, we got to talk. And I'm like, I think I said I have to tell you something. I have to talk to you about something. And he says to me, he's like, no, I got to talk to you about something first. And I'm like, holy shit, this is going to be a fight. And I'm like, I have to get louder now, like a lot louder so that like other dads can come and help this thing not happen, I'm like, oh yeah, what do you got to say? Like so loud.
Yeah.
Say it to my face. And he goes, and I mean, I'm like, we're gonna fight because I thought he was gonna be like, no one comes over here and tells me whatever the fuck. I didn't know what the next move was.
You're
gonna
stereotyping, but go ahead.
Fine. I mean, I was. He was an angry white man. And look, those guys have been cornered lately, so I don't know what's gonna happen.
Right.
Time's not up for him.
Time was still. He had a little time
left.
before it was up for him.
For that guy.
And he looks me in the eye and he's like, I love it when you and your brother fill in for Jim Rome on the radio. You guys are so funny. And I was just like, keep up the good coaching, man. Keep doing what you're doing. And I walked back to the dugout because I was just like, that's how fragile our egos are as comedians and actors. You're like, oh, you like me? That's so great. And so I literally just walked away back to the dugout. Didn't have a conversation. Didn't even tell him about fighting, about yelling at his kids and whatnot. I just walked away, took the inning, and then left. And I've seen that guy numerous times since then. I saw his kids since then. The postscript of that is he got kicked out of the baseball league because of his attitude towards.
Because he kept yelling at his kids.
Attitude.
Yeah.
The league booted him, and then, but he's in the basketball league, which is at North Weddington Park, and my kid was in that league. and his two sons, who I made evil because they're from him, but they're probably sweet kids who get hit.
Right.
But I'm just like, fuck, I hate them because I just made them into the Cobra Kai because I didn't like them. And
Sweep the leg.
right? And I just... we see them at basketball.
In basketball.
So like, I see them at the basketball court, and I'm ready to be mean to them. Like I'm going to be mean to these kids that they're going to be like bully bad kids, you know?
Right.
And they come
it
up
out on the kids.
They come up to me. And they're like, "Excuse me," and I'm like, "What?" Like mad. Like, what do you loud in case they want to fight me and kick my ass? I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Were you on this kids show Mighty Med with your twin brother?" And I was like, "Yes, we were." And they're like, "That was our favorite show. You guys are the best." And I was like, "Stop complimenting me! Everyone in this family, I want to hate you. I want to kick your ass. Stop liking my work." I'm sorry.
What did the father do for a living? Do you remember?
Personal trainer.
Oh,
Personal
well, there you
trainer.
go. Yeah.
Divorced.
Yeah.
Personal trainer.
That's weird.
Yeah, it seemed odd. Anger issues and he's divorced. But it is very interesting that but he's the kind of guy who, that's the story, but he is the kind of guy who so they have a basketball evaluation day that your kids have to go to before the season, and your kid does all these drills and they play in a
Right.
game, and the league evaluates them as like, okay, out of 5 stars, that
Right.
kid's a 4-star, that kid's a 5-star, and then all the coaches get together and they are like, you get 1 5-star, you get 2 4-stars, 1 3-star. He's the kind of guy who tells kids, tank the evaluation day,
really?
do horrible, and then I'll pick you higher.
Yeah.
And I'll get you as my 2-star, my 3-star, and then he has these stacked teams that just never lose.
The
And it's,
stacked
He's building a
7-year-old
winning team.
he's building a championship,
He's building
a winning
8-year-old.
future. But
It's
anyway,
only
that's-
championship, one compliment of Jason at a time.
Yeah.
Like,
one
Joe, you
credit.
got a whole team of 1-stars. How do
really,
you do
that
it?
story is just a chance for me to get in 2 of my credits. I just want to let you guys know. 2
Mighty
things.
Med and Jim Rohn.
Well
Way to go.
played, then. Well played. No, my kids used to go to Toluca Lake. They are very serious.
I mean, the
over
fields
there.
are beautiful, and I
Yes,
actually
they are
like it.
It was a great program.
I
but
like
the
the-
dads sometimes, when their kids.
It's a little aggro, man.
Yeah, when the
It's a
kids
little
are the pitcher or the catcher or
Right.
first base, they go.
They're
ape.
shortstop.
Isn't that
Yeah,
half
or
the
shortstop.
fun, though, a little bit of just being...
Yeah.
Look,
Angry.
I like, there are times where I'm like, I get into the games. Like, I like the competition of the game.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal. Look, I also hate the other side of it where, like, we're not going to keep score at all. And,
Right.
and everyone's
Because
gets...
sports is low stakes in terms of it's not going to change your life one way
No.
or the other, but you learn how to deal with loss. You
Right.
learn how to deal
Yeah,
with
but you know what?
adversity.
I get what you're saying, but I was thinking about because when my boys did Toluca Lake, there was a Tony Scott, the director, who passed. Right?
Yeah.
His kids were doing Toluca Lake baseball at the same time, and they were a set of twins, and one was very physical, and the other one was not physical at all. And I remember
Like us.
that no, I felt so bad because the kid that wasn't very physical, you could see that he just wanted his dad to be proud of him, and
right.
it was just like
both kids had in common that they did not have a good relationship with their father.
Yes, that is, no, but it is... No, but I
they,
understand
they
that.
could share that.
right.
I understand that, and
but
I think
I think
But
all
that's
the
kind of-
time, that really affected that younger brother.
But so you know what I would say in that scenario? I would say
Don't play sports.
Don't play sports. Like tell that
Find something that
there's
you
others-
really
Right.
enjoy.
Find another
Right.
interest that you love.
So the
that you
physical
excel.
kid, you say to that kid, you're going to win, you're going to lose. Life is about winning and losing.
Right.
God knows we all fucking know about that.
Yep.
Life is about winning. Life is about losing. Life is about not getting what you want. Life is about trying super hard and then something unfair happening and it not happening for you. You learn that on a baseball field. You learn that on a basketball court. You learn that calls don't go your way. Things don't happen
Right.
the way
Fair
you want.
enough, fair
And
enough.
that to me is a great way to teach kids with low stakes. It doesn't affect your permanent.
And
Right.
if I had a
Right.
backbone, we could teach them about how to speak to your children on a field. But
Jason does not.
So
well, my one son, when he played with my younger guy, and he was terrible at baseball. And they actually went to the championship. He was like number 10 on the team. He was so terrible at it.
More on
And
the
when they
bench.
went, because they get very serious about those little championships at Toluca Lake. And at the last game, and it was like he was in the outfield, and someone hit it, and it was one of those where the bases were loaded.
I'm sweating right now for you.
The bases were loaded,
It's
and
hit to
then
him, and he drops it.
It's hit to him, and he picks it up, and he just stands there. And he starts throwing the baseball up in his hand in the glove, and it was and everyone's like, throw the fucking ball, because they get really competitive. And he was like, nope, fuck y'all.
That's like Bad News Bears.
He threw the game just like that. He was like, nope, I'm done with your shit. And then we didn't play baseball.
Well, you
after
parents are really geeking out here with all the parent stuff, but we should move on to the next.
All right, your turn.
So I got to explain this black eye that I've got.
I would love
here.
that. Yes,
It's a beauty.
I haven't had a black eye in a long time, and just anytime you get hit anywhere around your eye, like not even in the eye, but if you get hit here, which is where I got hit, or you get hit here or here, like if you get hit here, when I was a kid playing sports, and I got bumped heads with someone just right here. And then you get like a raccoon eye, both eyes, just all the blood drains down. It just looks terrible. Which, as a comedian, great. I now got to go on stage this week in Austin, Texas, and write a joke about this, because what am I going to do? Put makeup on? I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, so the joke that I'm going to say is that, because we're going on Wednesday, the day after the election, so I'm going to say I take voter suppression very seriously.
Okay, there you go. So how did you get that?
So on Halloween this past week, my wife and I still, because my wife loves to dress up, and she's basically a gay man in a single woman's body. She loves Halloween. Halloween is the gay man's Super Bowl. Let's just get it out there. That's what it is. Actually, the Oscars is the gay man's Super Bowl. Halloween is like
the gay man's NCAA championship.
Maybe. All right. So
Okay.
it's just a wonderful time. It's just a wonderful time to be a gay man on Halloween. And so my wife just
I would love that. I mean,
so my wife is like, I want to dress up, and we always do. And my kids still dress up 11 and 13. They're right on the cusp of not doing it anymore. And we're just like, let's do it. My younger daughter she's 11. She was 11 from Stranger Things. My older daughter was one of the 3 bears from the We Bare Bears. Great, with 2 other friends. Fantastic. Nice. Funny, cool. I loved it. So my wife and I were like, I was like, we just saw the movie. We had seen the movie Isle of Dogs, which is Wes Anderson. So good. I mean,
I want to see that.
Oh my God.
I love
Please go see that movie.
Mr.
It's
Fox.
like there are 79 different styles of animation in it. Like there's different animation on a poster. There's a TV show in Japan that's a different animation. There's an old TV show which is a different animation from the current thing. It's a fucking masterpiece. Okay, so one of the main kids in there is a little Japanese fighter pilot. He's got like a toy plane that he flies over to this trash island where the dogs are hanging out, and he goes to try and save them. And his name is Atari Kobayashi, and he has like a silver jumpsuit, and he's got the Japanese socks that into the sandals, like the socks that spread into the sandals.
Right.
And he had shrapnel in his head because the plane crashed on the island, but we couldn't do that. But plane crashes on the island, and he gets a black eye. Okay. And so he gets a black eye, and he's got a little bit of stuff down here on his face, and just a couple of scuffs ups and marks.
Okay.
My wife plays Tracy Walker, who is this white girl with a white afro and all these freckles, who takes on the case of these dogs and is like a dog activist and falls in love
We should
with
tell Tracy she's in a movie.
Tracy Walker. And she just is this really cute, activist young girl who kind of falls in love with Atari Kobayashi, who is the thing. So we're like, you be Tracy Walker, and I'll be. This is okay. Now we live in Silver Lake, a lot of hipsters there, a lot of families that probably saw this movie. Even still, I'm like, there's 3% of the people are going to know who we are. Most people are going to be
it's like when you have like a joke in your act that this is just for me.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
we did a joke in our act about how Randy bit into a date. Not
an actual
not Marv
person.
Albert.
No,
no. He bit into an.
I've been on a date, and there was a
thinking
pit.
that it was a giant raisin, and there's obviously a wooden pit in the middle of it. I mean,
cracked my dental work down to the root, and I cracked my tooth.
so he did it, and he did it so
I bit into it so
I said he
ferociously.
bit into it like a bear, like trying to release his leg from the trap. That was,
I'm like, I don't know why. I was like at a pool.
that's a joke. That's joke one. And then
I was like at a
joke
pool party, and I was like, I bit into it so hard. It was like the bear from the movie The Grizzly Man. Did you ever see that documentary,
Yes.
The Grizzly Man?
And then his joke was
the only person who could listen to the audio of
couldn't
me-
even watch him bite into the date. He could only listen to the audio.
Was Werner Herzog. Now, there's a scene in that movie where German director Werner Herzog is listening to the audio of the
Right.
guy getting killed by a grizzly bear. And the camera is on Werner Herzog, and he's like, it's just too much. It's too much. And he like, but that scene was like chilling and crazy. He's listening to a guy getting killed, and you just see him listening to earphones and whatever.
So
that was my joke, and we said it on stage. We did it on our special, and like
Nobody
nobody laughed.
ever
And I'm
laughs
like,
at
I don't
that
give a
joke.
shit.
Not one.
I don't give a shit.
I'm like, that is such a specific joke. You've cleared the room.
Yeah, I was like, that's so. Werner Herzog doesn't even get that
He
joke.
would be like, oh, wait, I did do that.
I did do that. Oh yeah, I forgot that I did do that. So so that's the type of Okay, so there's got to be a little bit of that. So we're dressed up as this, and right before we go out, and like our kids are kind of going out. My wife is like, we went to Burning Man this year. Or she and I, we had never been, and she's like, I'm turning 50 this year, and I really want to go. And I was like, I'll go with you. And so we went, and we had a wonderful time. And
You as an adult went to Burning
yep,
Man. Okay.
had a great. I was skeptical, and I
Everyone
had a
should
great
do
time.
it once.
Now he's like, but since he's been back, he's been saying to me like,
He just doesn't get it.
Get it.
And he won't ever get it. He just will never get it until you go. You
I
just
completely.
You don't get it
I
at all.
can describe to other
You
people.
just don't
what,
get it.
No,
Like
no,
he's
you
like,
don't-
it's a
yeah,
transformative
I'm with
experience.
It was a
I'm like,
transformative
Let me
experience.
explain to you what that means. He and his wife went just outside of Reno to do Molly, just because they're afraid they're getting old.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Fine. Fair
I
enough.
do feel like that's something you do when you don't have kids. Or
I know. Well, we left our kids.
mystery killer over
I know.
there in the
Thanks
corner.
a lot.
Jesus
Sure.
Christ.
Fucking MythBuster. God. Anyway. Fact. So we had a little bit of stuff left over from Burning Man, and it's Halloween, and I was like, and she was like, she's like, you want to do it? And I was like, I don't know. I mean, we're walking around with the kids. I mean, walking around with the younger kid. I was like, I don't know if we should. And she's like, I already did half. I was like, fuck. What are you doing? She's like, here. And so I take it.
Doesn't
And-
that make you like sexual?
Ecstasy? No, a little bit. You know what?
Done it? Have you ever done it?
No,
It's I don't know. I can only describe it as it's really fun. You feel more in control than say if you did mushrooms or acid. That is just too psychedelically weird for me. And sometimes when I eat, like if I'll eat edible stuff, like that sometimes causes me to feel out of control, and I don't
Right.
love it. Like sometimes there's like these edible like sucking candies and
That we've
stuff
gotten
from like doing the roast
I just
battle
did one
with
last
speedweed.
night, yeah.
So if you do that late enough in the night, you can fall asleep and you can wake up high. Like
Yeah.
that's the weird. That to me is like if you don't get reset back to normal when you wake up in the morning, it's not a good drug in my opinion. It's like it's too much for me. And also I'm a parent. I got to be normal and functioning in the morning. I got to be normal and functioning on this. And my wife is already
to be
gone.
Molly,
normal and
the
functioning.
drug for
Let me take
parents.
that Molly and
Yeah,
trick or treat my ass off.
So I mean, it was.
So how
so
did that
dumb.
go? How did it go?
So I was like, it's not going to, she's only giving me half. It's going to be fine. What I realized is that she didn't like measure it out or anything. So I got the majority of it. So about an hour and a half into it, like I am flying. I mean, flying. And it's Halloween and you're seeing all these costumes and there's all these lights and it's starting to get dark and you're kind of just a little disoriented. And so I go up. So meanwhile, I have a black eye painted on this eye.
No, you don't.
Yes, because
Okay.
I have a black
All
eye
right.
painted on this
This is
eye.
way too convenient.
No, I have a black eye painted on this eye, which is crazy. And I go up to we made it through. I made it through with my youngest daughter. My older daughter was out with her friends kind of going around, and it was the first time we kind of let her go. I mean, it is fascinating to me. I'm actually having like the best time ever.
Right.
Because I'm hanging with some of my friends and I'm just trying to make it so that I'm not there. We have a friend's house we go to at the end of the street that we, I don't know if you ever had like a street that's blocked off and
Right.
it's, everyone goes this. I mean, thousands of kids. I saw one guy that freaked the fuck out of me. He was an older guy. I mean, older, like 65, 67 years old.
Don't
had
say that
like
in front of Felicia.
I'll let you land that one.
Folks,
I'll let you You land that one.
He had a long, pointy goatee and a long mustache. He was wearing like spandex that were falling down, so you could kind of start to see his pubic hair. He's walking through like he was had a tall red flute of some liquid elixir. I'm going to guess that it might have been Molly juice for him. I don't know. He had a cape on and no shirt, and he was just slowly walking through the. I'm like, we are almost 500 yards from an elementary school. Get this guy the fuck out of here.
Right.
I was like, who is this guy? I have no idea. And of course, my brain is going nuts. So I make it through this whole thing. Didn't see that guy again. Felt good about that. My kid gets tons of candy. Waited an hour and a half at one house for all this candy. I'm like, I can't believe I'm even having conversations with people and feeling halfway normal, although my jaw is like clenched up like this now. So I get to the house that I'm supposed to go, and it's dark, and there's not a lot of lights. And everybody goes inside, and I go to get up to take the step to go because there's steps leading up to the front door, and I miss a step, and I go because you're just not, you don't have your faculties. I fall straight face down on the right side where the thing was on the cement stair and hit my eye right there. If you can see it right there.
Oh, I see it.
And it was just right there. But I had all this makeup on, and I was like, oh, my God, I am fucked. I'm
so
fucked.
you want me to believe that you, as a 30-something-year-old dad, went tricking?
30-something. Ooh, I like this.
46. Yeah, 40, almost 47.
Almost 47.
Polite.
Yeah, it's so sweet. You weren't that polite to Felicia just a minute ago.
Fair, but that's fair. She can.
Yeah, it's
she can
okay.
do that.
So I just tripped and fell. Now.
You were tripping.
You were
And
tripping.
then I literally tripped. Literally tripping. I literally tripped while tripping.
Wow,
I missed the step going up and just fell right down on my face on the cement stairs. Thankfully, no one saw it. And I got up and I was like out of it. It hurt like fucking hell. I was like, I can't believe this. But I had this stuff. No one knew because I had this thing painted on. And I took it off, and I told my wife later that night, I was like, this is going to stay. Like, this is going to be there.
Weren't you worried that you cracked your head?
Well,
right there?
thankfully, I did, it was like a bad bruise. I don't think I, broke a bone, an orbital bone or anything like that, but it was bad. And the first thing that happened, because I've been injured in this area before, I was like, oh, I'm going to have a huge black eye. So, we have an audition today, and I, have to do this, and we got to go to Austin, Texas, and deal with
I do
this.
have some concealer if you want to borrow.
Yeah, I might
need
have to
some
do that. I'm going to get some man-sealer.
Yeah.
But, the truth of the matter is, I had a great time. I can't believe we pulled it off. I didn't have to drive anywhere. That was the other reason why I was like, I'll do this because I'm just walking the whole night. So it felt like we brought a little bit of Burning Man back home.
Right.
And, of course, there had to be some sort of a mishap in this whole thing.
By the way, I like the term orbital bone.
I know.
Orbital bone.
I gave her an orbital bone, if you know what I'm saying.
Folks!
Banged
What,
her
you
around
put your
the
dick in
fucking
the
globe.
eye? What'd you do?
All right, two very strong first stories, I think.
Yeah.
So let's move it on to the
Second
story.
Okay, so when we were, you guys were talking about Vegas before. We're not Vegas people. So much so that, when it was time to we're both married, have bachelor parties, we had them up in Big Bear. Just in a cabin with friends and let's do
Well, that sounds fun to me.
Yeah, let's do a bachelor party the way they do it in the movies. Let's go to a cabin, let's listen to some Belle and Sebastian, and let's just talk about our feelings, right? Bachelor party shit, right?
Blow that shit out.
So it was one of those things where it's like, hey, let's hang out. Was
it summer or winter?
Let's see. Mine was
summertime.
Yeah, beginning of the summer, end of spring, beginning of summer. So it was nice out. Yeah, it was. Because one of the activities, so we were like, when you're up there, we got to come up with some activities to do. One of the activities that we did during my bachelor party, which I'm so glad we did, but then so not glad because of what happened, was we said, let's go water skiing. We haven't gone water skiing in so long, since I was a kid,
right.
at a camp.
I could never do it.
But I kind of could do it if the skis were tied together. They do that for beginners.
Right.
When we did there was a place we went
For
to.
babies.
Yeah.
Like when they do chopsticks for toddlers.
Chopsticks for toddlers.
They put the little thing on the
Can I have the toddler skis? So I remember we went to a family camp way, way back in Wisconsin called Nippersink. where it was like a really super, hilarious, like nipper sinkhole.
It's all the fracking.
Fracking created nipper sinkhole. No, and it had a lake, and that's where we learned how to water ski, was back there, or at least tried it for the first time and got up on the skis and all that stuff. And I was like, that would be actually a fun. We're not in Vegas. We're not going to strip clubs. We're not spending our money on stupid shit like that. We're going to get great food and bring all that up, which everyone brought up to the cabin. Get some weed, hang out, play cards, whatever. And then during the day, we'll do a nice outdoor, because it was like end of spring, beginning of summer, do a nice fun outdoor activity, water skiing. We'll rent the boat. The guy will drive us. He'll bring the skis. But like what you forget is like you were all adults. So they think that when you sign up for water skiing, you're going to know how to fucking water ski. Like,
you would think.
And some people some people in the group could.
It's not a jet ski. You can't just jump on it and go.
No, jet ski, anyone can just sit on a jet ski and go. Water skiing does take like some skill. So the skis are not tied together. They just show up with two skis. He's like, what are your level? What's your levels? When we
do they expect you to drive the boat and everything?
They have
like
a guy.
When
you rent the boat, they give you a guy who knows how to drive the boat.
Okay.
So
because you could kill somebody.
You can easily kill someone.
That's the other half. Don't let us do the boat.
Right.
Where you go so slow that
because
they can't get up.
people were high. Like, I mean, it was like, that kind of weekend. And so we're like, okay, let's do that. And 3 out of the 9 people who were there were wise enough to know their own limitations and not do this. The rest of us are like, I'm an athlete. I can figure this shit out. I'm in my 30s. I was 31. So I'm like, I'm young. I can do this. This is easy. 32. I'm like, turning 32. So I'm like, I got this. This is easy. I get on the thing. And there were 2 or 3 people went in front of us and actually got up on the skis, which again gave me more false
terrible
hope that I know what I'm doing. False hope that I like. If Landsman can fucking do it, then I can do it. I know I can do it.
Right.
And so it comes around and it's my turn. It's my weekend, and so they're like going to give me the most amount of times around the lake and all this stuff, and I'm like ready to roll. And I'm like, no one's gotten hurt. No, someone's fell on their face, but it doesn't hurt so bad. Or they let go and they fall back on their back, but you're wearing a life jacket and like
that's the thing. Always remember to let go.
Let go, right?
In life,
if you hold on. Right. So I'm like,
that's what Bernie Man taught me. He'll never get it.
I won't get it.
He'll never get it.
So I was of the mindset where like he explained everything. Like they gave you on the dock, they put you on the skis, they show you how to stand up,
right.
They give you a whole tutorial. They tell you to let go, obviously, instead of holding on, or else you're going to be dragged face first by the boat forever. They give you all the right details, and
you get dragged, you're going to hold on tighter.
Yeah, because
I did that. I've done that.
Right? Your instinct is to just go and never let go.
By the way, I know someone that had an accident while water skiing and ripped open her
fake boobs,
chest.
real boobs.
What?
It popped open. You can break your chest. You can break your.
Your I clearly,
right down the middle.
I clearly underestimated. I underestimated the physicality and the severity of what we were about to do. I'm like, this is a piece of cake. It's easy.
Okay.
So I get out there and I'm sitting there, and as the boat's revving up, you kind of you're sitting back a little bit, and then it pulls you up. You're supposed to sit back and basically force the boat to pull you up. Okay.
I can't wait till you tell your broken wiener story. This has to be a broken wiener story.
Yeah. It's not a broken wiener story, but it's close. So first time up, I do it right, and I get up and they pull me around, and I'm standing, and like another bad move for me because
belle of the ball.
No, it gave me more false confidence.
Okay.
So then they're not going fast; they're just pulling you enough that you don't sink down into the water. And I was like, I think I can do. So he stops and I get out, and they're like, go again. You can go again. It's your fucking party. You should go again. And I'm like, because I was feeling great because I did it. I actually wasn't sure if I'd get up. And then when I did, and I went completely around the lake once, or around the section that we were going once, I'm like, I fucking got this. I can do this. So I'm like, go a little faster. Let's do this a little bit faster. We get up. I get up fine. We start to make a turn. One of my skis catches an edge, and I split out, like, do the splits. Like, I can't do the splits in my life. I can't do the splits, but there was a moment where both skis were out and up, and I heard something pop.
Like that noise said the microphone noise from earlier.
Yeah, like a microphone noise. Pop in my groin area, in the groin.
Boing.
And I was, it wasn't a boing. It was like when you
rip.
when you like or like a like it was like this, like or something like that. It was like that. It was enough of enough of a noise like you hear it and you get a little sick and
yes.
I was and then you immediately snap back and I'm like, there's damage now. There's damage now. They had to
that
help.
didn't snap back your legs. You mean snap?
No,
back.
I just fell forward after that and I thankfully let go. But I was like, That
probably helped because you probably went to grab your crotch right away, so you definitely let go.
Yes, exactly. But I face planted into the water. I got a whole mouthful of lake water, and they brought me up, and I was like, something is now very, very wrong. I couldn't walk for 2.5 weeks without couldn't take
what
steps.
What about your wedding?
So the wedding at least was like 3.5, 4 weeks later. So it wasn't like that. But there was. We had
you got a penis-eating amoeba.
That's number one. No. I didn't get a penis eating. The worst. But like my wife and I had a whole dance that we were supposed to like practice and get ready, like the first dance that we couldn't do because I fucked it up. For 2.5 weeks I had to like sit. Thank God we didn't have any stand up, like because we didn't plan stand up through that time and we weren't doing as much on the road stand up. But like I literally was like laying on my bed. I couldn't even like peeing hurt. I walking. I could only shuffle. I couldn't lift.
How long before you were able to have sex? Like the first time you had sex, and I don't mean to like go into the toilet.
Let's be safe here. We didn't have sex on the wedding night. We didn't have sex on the wedding.
What? That sucks.
Well, we had sex sometime before.
Your whole wedding.
I didn't ruin the wedding night. I think it was because we ate too much and we were tired. I didn't ruin the honeymoon. We had sex on the honeymoon. But we really didn't take our honeymoon until a year later. But those 3 weeks leading up, when you're supposed to be able to be helpful and do shit and work on the dance that you were supposed to do ahead of time.
Was she livid?
She was not happy.
Yeah.
She was not fucking happy.
Right before you get married, you don't want to get some frozen peas for your fella to put on his thing.
I'm like, you're allowed to not be happy with me, but I'm the one who's in pain. I mean, I know I did a stupid thing, but it hurts. I'm the one who's in pain right now. That was
not acceptable.
That was that was definitely one of the dumbest things I've ever done in my entire life. And you're right, I should have gotten shit for it, but that's one of those things where like when two things happen that give you false confidence,
right,
you will get fucked in the end.
Yes.
You'll rip your scrotum.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump on to your story.
I'm going to go back to my first anniversary with my wife. This is many years ago. We've now been married almost 18 years this June.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So,
I said, wow. You said, congratulations.
She's like, that won't last. I'm like, wow, that's impressive. Good
Mine
luck.
was more like, congratulations. I couldn't do it.
You were like, wow, and she's like, enjoy it while it's still there.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, it's winding down. So the first anniversary, I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to plan our anniversary. I am going to. I said, I am going to plan our anniversary. You don't have to worry about it. I will do it. So I was like, we've never been to Napa. Let's drive up to, we were living in LA at the time. I was like,
this is your first anniversary?
First anniversary. Like we had already been on a nice honeymoon. This was just like the year after. I was like, let's just go to Napa and we'll go to Napa and I'll find a place. Now, again, this is 17 years ago. So the internet wasn't the internet that we know now. There was no like TripAdvisor. There was no
now of getting married. I can just tell where this is going.
So I was like, I will plan it, and I was like, let's go to Napa. I mean, we've never been to Napa.
Napa's like what, 6 hours away, 5 hours away?
Yeah, north of San Francisco. It's an easy drive. It's actually really nice, and so, but you don't stay in Napa. Napa's like a kind of a busy.
Especially if you don't have no reservations.
Right. It's a busy. Well, it's a busy, dirty-ish town. It's like not. It's not like you go up north.
they're like
to
way
St.
nicer
Catharines
houses.
or like
Healdsburg.
or you go up there. You don't stay. Or
It's Napa Valley is the
name of it, but the city of Napa is just not great. So, meanwhile, I didn't know that because I've never been up there.
What?
So online, I find this place called a bed and breakfast because we had been to bed and breakfast before. This is like bed and breakfast is like bed and breakfast is like when you say, you know, that private moment you want to have. Let's now involve some people that you fucking hate. You know what I mean? Like, and you have to now enjoy them too, and they have to be wrapped into it. So I was like, I found this place, and it was like this old kind of Victorian home called the Belle Epoque was the name of it.
Belle Epoque.
And I was like, this looks cool. I'll make a reservation here. And I made a reservation there. And we drive up and we get into Napa. And it is like in a neighborhood. It's not like, it's in a neighborhood like we just went from our neighborhood down in California to this neighborhood in Napa.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's a house.
It's a house.
You thought it was going to be like on a piece of land.
Yeah,
by
have its
itself.
own thing. Yeah, because they didn't show any houses around it. I think it was like a sketching of the place and it looked kind of cool. So we get in and it's like everything's purple. Everything it kind of looks like Miss Havisham, like sort of a weird, sort of dusty-ish. Clearly, like I fucked up bad. I was like, I got it. I planned stuff. I'll do it. I got it. I got a few. This is like the last time I've ever planned anything ever in our relationship. And so we get up there and we are in our room, which is right off of like the kitchen. And we open up a book as my wife is like putting stuff away. And it's like the title of the book is like the best Christian bed and breakfasts in the United States, and Belle Epoque is number 8. Okay, we're Jewish. Like, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck? I literally said that out loud. As soon as I said, what the fuck, someone knocks on the door and is like, we don't have any. Can you please keep the cursing down?
Are you
yeah, it's a
serious?
Christian bed and breakfast.
Really?
So I was like, I can't believe I did this, and we have to go to dinner, and there's just all these like kind of uptight Christian people there, and it's me and my wife. And we're supposed to like be enjoying ourselves, and it feels like we're in a house, like we're foreign exchange students in a house for a bunch of Christian people, and we don't fit, and like they're gonna like reprogram us over the weekend to like not be Jewish anymore. And I was like, I can't believe I did this. So I said, you know what? We got there kind of late in the evening. I was like, let's go to bed early. And the next morning I have something planned for us in the morning and this will be great. And she's like, oh my God, I can't wait to see that. So we get up and I was like, I have planned a hot air balloon ride for us to go on. Now, my wife is super afraid of heights. Okay. So,
oh my God.
I was like, you're going to get over it. We are going to have a blast.
Today.
We're going to do it. Today's the
Today
day.
we conquer
She's
your
freaking
deepest
out.
fear.
And I have to say, I'm kind of freaking out too because like you step into like this basket, and we're in this basket with other people as well. Like I couldn't plan one thing that was just the two of us. It was like, there's got to be a
with the Christians or
yeah, no, the new people. There's like
But
a
at the end
weird.
of the story, she actually converts to
That's
Christianity.
right. There's like a weird German couple and like these other people and like kind of just serious Midwestern people in there. It was an interesting collection of people in our basket. And we go up. We're in this like balloon and we go up. And the idea was we were going to go up a mile, over a mile, down a mile, that come back down the mile, and then it lands in this big open field, and then we have lunch catered out there, and
Nice.
it's like a really nice. It takes a few hours, and it's this beautiful look of the Alexander Valley, and it's really nice. So we get up there, and we start to go up, and I look at our.
Are you running the balloon?
No, I'm looking at the pilot. Okay,
that what they're called?
They're called pilots. So he's the balloon pilot.
I mean, they got the fire. They
He
got
does the fire, and he opens stuff up. And all
Wasn't
this
Pippi
stuff.
Longstocking in a?
No, it was a guy who I noticed on his right hand is missing 2.5 fingers.
He got too close to the fire.
So I'm like,
you know what I mean?
I was like,
Already there's a guy who doesn't make good decisions.
I'm like, either he makes bad decisions or he's unlucky. Either way, we're
Right,
fucked. I'm like,
right.
why is this guy our pilot?
Yeah.
So his name was Maverick. That's what he called himself. I'm like, I can't believe we have a pilot named Maverick. He goes up. And we're up there, and we're kind of moving, like we're moving kind of fast. He radios down to the van, which is down below, and he's like, "I got a wind. I'm going with it." I was like, "Holy shit! What are we doing?" 14 miles later. We're supposed to go 1 mile up, 1 mile over, 1 mile down.
Blew you away.
14 miles. Well, so now we're in an area where we don't have clearance to land down below us. So like he's now, because he got a fucking thing in his mind, he was going to lose more fingers. He goes out. We go 14 miles out, and people are a little nervous. We're like, where are we going to land? And he's radioing down, and we see the van trying to drive underneath us and like trying to like, where are we going to go with this? And he's like, we got to put this thing down somewhere. And someone's like, he's on the radio going, knock on doors and see if we can land in people's farmland. I was like, knock on doors. What are you doing? I turn my I'm like, is this great?
At some point, don't you just have to break the law? I mean, fucking.
So he's like, I see an area by this hillside. I'm going to go down and like, did you knock on the door? And they're like, no one's. We can't get there. And he's like, I'm just going to drive.
That one pilot landed in the Hudson River.
He was Sully before Sully was Sully Sullenberg. Fucking balloon Sullenberger. And so
Maverick Sullenberg.
Maverick Sullenberger. Thank you. So he takes it down. And it's going down. We're like going down between this hillside and this farmland on someone's property. There's a fence that has barbed wire around it. Okay. And he's like, okay, so we're coming down towards the ground. This is not where we should land. And we're coming in at an angle. We're not going straight down. We're like coming in at an angle. He's like, when the basket hits, everybody jump up. I was like, what the fuck? What is going on? My wife is looking at me like, I can't believe you planned this.
Oh my God.
It hits, we jump up, and the basket falls over, and we all kind of fall on top of each other. I mean, this is not what you planned. We get out, and we're now in this field where there are cows, and there's barbed wire fence around there. Now, I have not spent a ton of time around cows, but
I used to train heifers in 4-H.
They're not nice. Like,
no, yes, they are.
No, these were not nice. These were not nice, okay? There was a poor woman who a cow chased her around a tree. Like, almost treed this poor woman.
She was just trying to play.
I guess so. I was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. We run over to the van, which is parked on the side of the road.
Cows are very playful.
I'm just trying to
old lady
wrap my
might
head
not know.
around
Old
the
German
fact
lady
that
might not know
Jessica
that.
used to train cows at 4-H.
Heifers. They're not cows until they've
not-
had a baby.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so I don't know if these things have had babies. So maybe they're heifers. All I know is like there's a cow chasing a woman and I'm not helping her out. Like I'm running over to the side and we run over to the side. We have to lift up the guy from the van opens up the barbed wire fence and we climb through. And as we're climbing through, my favorite pair of jeans gets ripped. I'm like wearing these
Your
jeans.
stories have so many layers.
Gets
Yes.
ripped on
Yes.
on this thing, and this is the moment at which I get pissed. I'm like, my fucking jeans. I'm like, what the fuck? These jeans are getting ripped. Favorite jeans. Favorite jeans. So we're sitting down at like where they've now positioned us to have. They have to drive 14 miles back so that we can eat this lunch and this thing. And I'm really pissed. I'm like, my jeans are all messed up. I can't believe this. I'm like, what are we going to do about this? And I was like, honey, go tell him that I'm mad. And she goes up and is like, this is really not what we had. I don't know if we were going to get a refund. I was like, this is really not what we were planning
Damn
on.
Jews
and all this
going
stuff.
after the refund.
That's right. Now I'm with the refund. But she was like, we should have been refunded. But anyway, she
Right.
was like, he gave her for me. Because she was like, my husband ripped his jeans. Whatever she said. I don't know what she had to say. I can't believe I made her do it. It was terrible. He gave in like a plastic, like it was a polo, like a golf shirt that had the logo. It was bright orange and it had the logo of the balloon company on it, which was like a red, white, and blue balloon. And I don't know. My wife thought I was like, I don't know what size she thought I was, but I go back to we finally get back
How
to
is
the belly
shirt
pot.
going to help you with your pants?
It's like, here's this free shirt. Like, here, we're sorry.
Okay.
Here's this like, $50 shirt for free. And it was really nice. But I go to put it on and, you know how like different sizes fit differently. Like,
Right.
I may be a medium in one thing and I'm an extra large in another. it's just different. And so I go to put the shirt on and it is a medium, but it is like super tight. It's a super tight, bright orange shirt with a rainbow logo in it right there. Like I was ready for West Hollywood.
Little logo. We'll rip your favorite.
Fuck your jeans. This is Balloon Ride. But I literally looked at my wife and I was like, son of a bitch. And then we get a knock on the door. Could you guys please keep the cursing down?
Wow. You guys are fucking super
Wow.
descriptive, man. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
That's some serious.
You don't hold back.
You can paint a picture with your words. That's wow. So now,
I'm a little upset that you were saying how mean cows are, and I think maybe that lady was scared, but that doesn't mean that cow had any ill intention.
I mean, she might have provoked. She might have provoked her. She might have provoked the cow.
She might have.
I'm excited that I know exactly what a heifer is now.
I know. Jeez,
Cow that
Louise.
has a baby.
So do you guys know which ones are true? And which
Okay,
ones are
so
not?
we're gonna start with Jason, and Jason, your first story is about baseball, like wanting to
Confronting the
shitty dad
yeah.
who was yelling at his kids. That was your first story, and then your second story is how
Water
you
skiing on
popped
my
open
bachelor
your
party.
orbital bone.
No, that was my orbital bone, just my bone.
Going water skiing at Big
It was a
Bear
groin pull, but
Lake.
yes, not fun.
A groin pull makes a pop.
Well, yeah, something happened. on
Right.
it, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that the first story is true. Only, I don't know, because I don't feel like you would be the type that, like, I'm going to go over there, and you wouldn't start off with, hey, bro. I mean, that's seems like your character at all. Plus, how many people actually compliment you on your work? You know what I mean?
Oh, fuck,
Beautiful.
Jessica.
Perfect.
I
Well
applaud
done.
I'll let that land.
Bold.
I will let that land.
Bold. Invite him in.
Well done.
Fucking take
Well
it down,
done.
Jessica.
No, well, I love that.
So I don't think that that's true. I don't think you would have been that ballsy to be like, let's fucking talk.
What about you?
I kind of feel like I think you guys both of you are jamming up a bunch of different stories together. So I feel like the one about the lake might have happened. Oh God, that's a tough one though. It might have. Yeah.
And Randy's, both his sound like something he was done on stage. They both sound that way.
All right, I'm gonna say.
They wrap around.
I'm gonna say Jason. The lake story is true, and the baseball story is not true. So I guess I'm with Jessica.
you guys
on
are-
this.
Oh,
Yeah,
you don't
that
think
never
baseball?
happens.
Okay.
Wow.
Lake story false. Baseball story true. Baseball story true.
So did you completely make that lake story up?
We went. I mean, we went. I went to Big Bear for my bachelor party, but we never went water skiing. We never did any of that. We just hung out there. But that was that.
I should have known.
So the setting was.
Right.
So you
true.
did the dance and all that, and your wife wasn't mad at you?
I did the dance. My wife wasn't mad at me. I wasn't injured, and we also did not have sex on the. But that's just because I ate too much and drank too much. But
Wow.
but there.
I
but
should have known.
yeah. But so I did say, "Hey, bro." I might not. To this guy,
Those compliments,
and
Jessica.
I did amp it up, and that did happen to me. And what's so funny about that story is that we've tried to think about a way to tell that story. I've told it to a few friends, and we've never done it on stage. But I think there is something perhaps in that story about like you just don't know how to like you work so hard to like parent your kids and keep them to do the right things, but you don't really account for like when some other crazy thing enters your parenting world and like how to deal with it. And like it is true that we've never been in a fight before, and I wouldn't know what to do if I suddenly was like finding myself in a confrontation with someone. But it gets heated on the fucking field,
People get
Especially in
heated.
Toluca Lake.
and
I'm telling you, I'm not a parent. I have a dog, though. Go to the dog park.
oh, I know.
Those are the worst parents out of all of them because they are fucking psycho.
And they don't think, but they're similar in that they don't. Well, I mean, if you saw a parent or if you saw someone being like rough with their dog, would you go up and say something to him?
Yeah,
I mean,
there
that's
you
the
go.
thing.
There you go.
Ask
Yeah,
yourself
yeah,
that
yeah.
because so
You
that
saw
was
someone
my-
hitting their dog or
or
dog.
yanking the chain and yelling at them. I think the question is, would you go up and say something? So this was a situation where I thought I could handle it, and again, I was like.
You got
nervous.
over your skis, so to speak.
Yes, and my nerves about not knowing how it was going
And
to
then
go.
he got you-
amped me
he
up,
let
and
you
then
out
he
of
let
it.
me off the hook by
Yeah,
being
okay.
complimentary to me, and he has since.
You guys
like,
both got that
Wow.
wrong. All right,
Wow.
And,
that's
and
Now-
did you leave the conversation? Did you really just say, okay, thank you?
Thanks a
He
lot,
didn't
man.
say, like, what were you going to say? Or
I was
tell me?
like, let's have a good game, and like, I think I maybe, I said something like, oh man, thanks. He did say, what are you going to say? And what did you want to say? And I was like, hey, let's just keep the game light. I think I did like throw in one like
So you
version,
did like a little hint, like a little.
but it wasn't what I came over to say.
Right.
What came over to say was like, there's no place in the, and the league did get rid of him. The league got rid of him, but he's allowed to coach in basketball. And like and so I make a point to my kid to be like, man, you can't like. Look, this is not how we do it.
Yeah, really use him as an example of what not to do.
So here's the thing now. Now we're moving over
to Randy's stories.
To Randy's stories, and now we have the layer of how he bullshitted us.
Right.
And so
I
now,
fooled both.
But both of his stories feel like they're already.
Well, the first one is about his eye.
They're already
tripping
bits,
while,
like
tripping
polished
while
bits.
Tripping.
Tripping while tripping.
Tripping while tripping.
It's a good name for the episode.
Yes, tripping while
And let's
tripping.
be honest, neither one of them look that cool that either of them are going to Burning Man.
What? What is this? What is this, Jessica?
Okay.
You've never been to Burning Man. These are our guests.
That's true. Moshe Kasher did go to Burning Man. He doesn't look cool.
Right. You can't, you can't judge like that. And then the second story.
But no, you guys look like sports parents, bros, dudes.
Definitely not bros.
Not bro dudes.
Definitely not.
Definitely not bros.
But not Burning Man dudes.
Do you have any questions over here?
Well, that was my question.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna say, God, because I was married for a long time with someone who, and it makes me
But maybe
angry
they're
even
trying to
hearing your
fake us
fucking
out.
story. Yeah, like
with the you're thinking, no way am I going to think he's on
No.
Molly, but maybe he thought I wouldn't believe that.
Yeah, I don't think the Molly thing is true because I was married and we almost broke up before we even got married because he made reservations for a New Year's Eve. And at 3:00 in the morning, I was walking with a group of people in a circle trying to find a restaurant to eat in. And
I'm sure he's
forgave
probably
him for
done that, but maybe this is not the right.
I think the
true
second story is true, and the tripping while tripping is not true. What about you, Jessica?
I'm leaning toward. God, this is so hard because I don't believe you'd be on Molly, but then you could have been tricking us, and you're like, you never would believe I'm a parent. They'll take my kids.
What about you, Andrew? Thoughts?
I think that the first one's not true.
Why?
I just feel like he has a black eye and was like, I had got to make up a story, and Halloween was recent. It just seems easy. And also, I also really want the second story for him to have been like, okay, Jessica said to me this story. He's actually like, they're my second favorite pair of pants. Just to change that one detail.
And there were so many layers. There were a lot of layers of both of these.
Very descriptive.
Yeah.
So that's
But
why it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
The first one, yeah.
The second one, I'm going to say the second one is not true. Because for you to finally, that was your last string is whenever your pants get ripped. That's when you lose it.
Why didn't you shit your pants when you were jumping and the basket hit the ground?
Good point. Because I cared about those fucking pants.
Maybe I want to change
Care about those goddamn
It's
pants.
really high up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. What's
You ready?
Yeah.
So the second story was true. The first story was false,
Yes,
but
yes.
let me tell you how it was false. So first story, that we were those characters. I did take a little bit of Molly, and I was tripping like crazy. All right, and so that was on Halloween. So we did that, and we went around, and I had a painted black eye on Halloween, but I didn't trip and fall there, so it didn't happen there. Although it could have very easily happened there.
Right.
I was putting away my Halloween decorations in our basement 3 days ago, and we had this tall, like thin metal, like bookshelf. Remember, like the old CD holder, like CD towers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it has like a thing on the bottom to stabilize it, and then but it was like a bookshelf that had other shelves that were in it, but those shelves were off. So it just had the bottom and this tall thing, and it's in an area that's dark in the crawl space where I was putting all of our other stuff away that is kind of uneven on the ground. So I turned to go turn on the light, and I stepped inadvertently on the bottom of this bookshelf, and almost like an old cartoon rake. A guy steps on a fucking
Sideshow
rake.
Bob.
It's like Sideshow Bob. Remember Sideshow Bob stepped
From
on
The
25
Simpsons?
different rakes? That's what happened. So it like, boom, hit me so hard in the eye, and I was like, I'm fucked. Now I'm fucked. So, and this happened like 3 days ago, and so now I've got this thing right here, but it just was me putting away the Halloween decorations. So on stage, what we're gonna say is like, I'm gonna start out and be like, voter suppression, I take it very seriously. Also, I was putting away my kids' Halloween decorations, and I stepped on a bookshelf that hit me in the face, but that doesn't mean I don't take voter suppression very seriously.
Wow. Those
So that was
were-
it. So there was a lot true in the Halloween
But
story.
they're
a lot.
saying you got to make it up. Don't make it totally.
No.
The meat of the
Because
story
to me,
was
this
not
the black
true.
guy,
Yeah,
Right.
the
yeah.
falling down
This
on the
is
steps.
perfect.
This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
so. But I wanted to put enough in there that was true,
Right, so that it felt-
because the real truth of the story is how did I get the black eye? It's completely different.
No,
I
no.
stepped on a
Yep,
bookshelf
those
while
were
putting
great
stuff away.
stories.
Fucking perfect.
So that was
Yeah,
it.
those are really. You guys are really
Man.
good storytellers.
Ah,
You guys
thank
are a
you.
lot hipper than I thought.
All right.
Finally,
And I
a
did go
fucking
to
compliment
and I did go to
from
And he
Burning
did go to
Man.
Burning
And
Man.
we did go to Burning Man.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah,
really?
this year
Awesome.
they
I
did.
was so skeptical about it being like
Yeah.
this thing that I wouldn't. I was like, man, how am I
Would
going to
you ever
find?
go back, though?
Yeah,
You
yes, I
would?
would because we
Really?
really had a good time. I just had a blast. My wife and I had a blast. Went without our kids. We set our kids up, and they were all good. And we had friends who took the youngest one up to Tahoe, which is really only 2.5 hours away from where this place is outside of Reno. And we on Saturday we didn't even watch the man burn. We just kind of drove out early and went and met this family at this house that was right on Lake Tahoe and like jumped in the lake. It was so nice. It was like the best landing spot after a
Right.
couple of days at this thing. It was awesome.
Well, good. I would never go back to Burning Man. Is all I want to say. But I had a good time when I was there.
We had a
Cool.
blast.
Yeah,
We had a blast.
good time.
Yeah, I think
No
it's
reason to go back.
from what I've heard about it. Is,
You don't get it.
wow.
Well, thank you so much, you guys, for joining us
you.
here at the Liars Club. Where can people find you? What can people be watching about you and any
Okay.
other kind of information?
So when does this go up? Do we know when this goes up?
Next week, maybe?
Probably
Okay.
next week.
Okay, here's where you can find us. You can find our podcast that we were explaining, Dumb People Town, and if you're a sports fan, which I'm assuming there probably aren't many, but maybe there are, we do a weekly sports podcast called View from the Cheap Seats, and basically this is what happened in the world of sports, but seen from our way, and it is stuff that you're not hearing anywhere else, and we love that, and have had great people, everyone from Bob Costas to Dan Deerdorf to Ozzie Smith,
Oh,
like
nice,
great people have
nice,
been on it,
nice.
and then like Blake Griffin and Bill Burr and people like that who also, comedians who love sports too.
Wonderful.
So there's that, and then those come out every week, and there's a ton of 2 Dumb People Towns come out every week.
And we're doing Dumb People Town live at Largo on December 10th.
Oh, nice.
We're going to be
nice.
headlining Flappers on December 20th in Burbank.
Those are LA shows. I think for people, we'll be doing a live Dumb People Town at Sketchfest in San Francisco on January 11th.
Great.
Follow us on Twitter. We're at Sklar Brothers. Follow us on Instagram. We're at Sklar Brothers, spelled all the way out. And then it was just announced that the Dumb People Town show, we're making an animated narrative pilot presentation for YouTube Red with that. So cross your fingers and
Oh,
hope
wow.
that actually
Wonderful.
becomes a series, like a
Yeah.
Family Guy style series about
Absolutely.
the dumbest town in the country in Florida, Stupahachie, Florida, named after the Stupahachie
I was
Indians.
born in Gainesville.
There you
Go
go. So
ahead.
You and Tom Petty?
Yeah. It's about 2 brothers, twin brothers, and they're, one's dumb and happy, and the other one's smart and miserable. And it's like, how do we find what is it better to be? Is it better to be right and miserable or dumb and happy?
Yet
And
another layer you guys
this
have added
town-
on
yeah.
about yourself.
Exactly. Look at me! I got a black eye from stepping on a bookshelf. Who's dumb?
Dumb and happy. He went to Burning Man.
Why am I still miserable?
Well, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Andrew, is there anything you would like to add for our listeners?
Yeah, follow me everywhere at one Andrew Rose across all social media, and my joke book comes out on Black Friday, so be on the lookout for that.
Nice.
Go to my website,
Very nice.
arosecomedy.com, and I'll have a web thing. You can go there and woohoo! Thank you folks for
And
listening.
do us a big favor, if you have liked any of the program today, go and subscribe on iTunes, leave a review. We sure would appreciate that. And I've been Felicia Michaels.
And I'm Jessica Wellington, and you've been lied to.
Hello, ladies and gentle sirs. This is Andrew Rose, the producer of the Liars Club. I just wanted you lovely folks to follow our awesome hosts. And that would be Jessica Wellington and Felicia Michaels. And you can follow them on Twitter at Felicia Michaels, Felicia, and Jess Wellington 2. That is the number 2,